Hello, everybody. It's Glenda from her webcam tonight. Oh, yeah, I'm being a little silly. Always am. When I'm not silly, that's when I'm just not silly. I finished the bird, the cardinal, and it's now on a shelf. And I posted a few pictures of it around. And tonight I had a meeting between 7 and was supposed to go to 8, but it went more like 8:30 because we got to goofing around. So it was a Zoom meeting. So now I'm here. Hello. I do not know what to do for an opening. When I was doing that bird thing, I just don't even do one because there was just so much content. But I don't know. Here's my opening. Hi, smile and wave. Get your tails out there, smile and wave. No, don't get in any danger. Anyway, yeah, it's Friday. Joe's home after the meeting. Well, he slept through that. I figured he'd go in and watch. He loves the old westerns, especially certain ones, and the ones with Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott. He loves those. So I recorded. It's no longer videotaping anymore. It's now recording. I recorded Shadow Riders for him last night. So I thought, well, he could go in his room and watch Shadow Riders while I'm having the meeting. But as usual, after supper, he fell asleep. So I had the meeting anyway. Hey, when I said I needed something to crochet, Joe said, make some blankets for the grandkids for Christmas. Do you know how many grandkids I got? But I've got a year. So do you think this would be big enough for a twin bed? Once I get it all. I measured about three yards, I think. Did your mother do this? There's one. Oops. 2. Oh, about 2.5 yards. But it stretches, so it'll easily stretch. And over time, it'll definitely stretch. So, I guess this is going to be for a girl. And another color he got me was this. Isn't that pretty? I think that'll be for one of the older grandkids. Oh. And the one I gave my youngest daughter last year was very long, and the number of skeins I got to crochet it made it about half the width it needs to be. So I've been thinking if I can get that same yarn, because I ordered it through Amazon, if I can get that same yarn, I would have her bring it back and I'd do the other half. But if I'm going to make these this year, that's going to have to be next year. Oh, brother. Time goes by. Joe gets to retire this year. I actually think he's kind of looking forward to it, and I think he's kind of dreading it because one day he sat there and I guess he got to thinking, and it's like, what am I going to do after I retire? I said, I'll have a to-do list for you. I'll have a honey-do list for you. There's all kinds of things I want you to build. He sat there, so he'll go tinker. And mostly that's what he'll do. Mostly he'll tinker. Or he'll go and help the kids with stuff. He'll figure out stuff to do. If I could figure a way to get him an old car and find the parts for it, he'd be in heaven. And and his tools, oh man, most of them he bought on auctions or stuff like that, because they could be very expensive brand new. But he's got some nice stuff too. I mean, they're all good stuff. They all work. That's all he cares about, is they work. So when he does have something he wants, and he's willing to tell me he wants, then I can get it for his birthday or for Christmas. But if he doesn't, if he won't tell me, sometimes he'll just decide to go buy it for himself. Was it last year? Well, no, because that was 2020. I think it was 2019 or the year before. I don't remember. But I thought, well, you know, he had to leave his old air compressor at the other place. And I thought, well, I know he could use an air compressor. Has an air bubble, but I don't know how good it is anymore. But you need something to fill the air bubble with. And the gas station isn't always convenient. So I said, well, why don't I get you an air compressor? No, those are too expensive. I said, Joe, I can get you an air compressor. No, I don't know what I want. A month or so later, he came home with an air compressor that he bought. And it was about the same one I showed him online. Go figure. He's a man. He's a man. No offense, guys. I think a lot of times we women are the same. We want to kick the tires of our blenders. I don't use a blender. But anyway, I chose my day bed. He wouldn't have chosen it. He wouldn't have chosen a couch either. He would have just, well, I don't know what you want. How many of you are like that? Even with your kids or with nieces or nephews or whatever. How many of you are like that? And Valentine's Day is coming up, and thank goodness that one's not so darn tough, because you get to be pretty secretive about it. Not only that, but it can be simple. Like a coconut cream pie that I had my daughter buy at the store. Anyway, so this is variegated, by the way. I don't know if they're calling this one variegated or striped, because variegated seems to change color, I think, more often than striped. Let me see if I can reach it. Oh, I wanted so bad when I saw they had this pattern in there for this shawl or poncho thing. It's knit. I don't knit anymore. I did learn how to knit because my grandma Miller taught me how. And anyway, but it's a knitted one. But I think just looking at it, I could figure out how to do it if I really wanted that bad. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about tonight. I'm just jabbering. What do you use your time up for? Tonight I have no agenda, no plan. I'm just sitting here yammering about what my day consisted of, about my husband and gifts, about me and gifts, about yarn. But I don't do as much yarn online, so I'll just show you what I've got. And this is it. I got my computer today. My new one. I have not been able to close the lid on this one, or close it, for months, if not a year. Because the clamp, or the clasp, that is kind of the hinge, I guess it's more the hinge, that on the one side, it kind of broke off. And when I looked in there, because there's only those two hinges that any wiring could go through to work this monitor, because that's the only connections. So I knew it had to be in one of those. And I looked, sure enough, the one that broke was the one that it was in. So Joe was able to do some jury rigging with some tape. Always tape. Anyway, but went ahead and tried to close it because he didn't make it. He just more or less, but I mean, it's stretchable tape. I mean, well, it's duct tape. Be honest, it's duct tape. You can do it. But I went to close it, and the front of the monitor started separating from the back of the monitor. And that, I guess, had been happening, but I was more concerned about. So I haven't been able to close it for a long time. So I am going to enjoy this new one so much. This computer is, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years old or longer. I'm pretty rough on a computer. I mean, I use up the memory. This is the first one I've used thumb drives a lot, but I've got a lot of full thumb drives from this one. And I went and I bought a external hard drive. I thought I'd filled that up, but I guess what it was I was trying to upload too much to it at one time, and it didn't like that. So I have to upload smaller amounts of data at one time. Never mind, that's all. I'm really not that techie. I learn what I need as I go along. So, oh, don't do that. Quit hissing at me. Sometimes you just have to talk to things. I do that. I talk to things because if they're not going to behave, I'm going to tell them how to behave. And sometimes they work. I mean, sometimes it works. Have you ever just got mad at the TV? Like tonight, we were watching, it was a game show, America Says. And I knew the answer to this one blank, and nobody in the group would say it. And I just hollered it and hollered it. Joe's in the kitchen laughing. But he's done it too. Not as loud, not as much as me, but he's sit there and he's like, tried to see if he could get it. And we're both happy when we're right, but he just laughs when I'm hollering at the TV. It's freedom, it's freedom, it's freedom. The question was, I spoiled my kids by giving them too much, and there were 3 answers. And they couldn't get the last one, and it started with an F. And it dawned on me, it's freedom. You give them too much freedom, they go crazy. So, anyway, I really don't. I've talked for almost 14 minutes, and I don't know what I've said. Oh, yes, I do. I can listen to the recording back. But I just wanted to just have fun tonight. No agenda. It's just being real. Just chatting. So, but the only way I chat with you is if you comment back, please. I would really love it if you commented back. Give me an idea for a logo, or I could have to go buy one. I really don't want to pay for one. I could look up how to make one. That's work. But I could do it. I'll talk to you Monday. I love you. And if anybody comes up with a name for Mr. Cardinal, or we can just call him Mr. Cardinal. Some call them Redbirds, which they are. I kind of do both. So when I want them to sound more regal, they're a cardinal. If I want them to be down to earth like me, they're Redbirds. That's just goofiness. I just said that out of my head. I'll talk to you Monday. I love you all. Please smile and I love you. Smile and wave at somebody and make their day and make yours. Because they might just smile and wave back. Or at least smile. We'll see you Monday. Love you all. Good night.